everyone, welcome back. So today we are finishing up the inside of the castle that I did last on the last video. I think I ended up naming it the Von Windenburg Castle. I didn't change the name on here yet because I haven't uploaded it to the gallery. But yeah, that was the last video I did was the outside of this build. Now this is the inside. And I'm just gonna apologize now if I sound off. I'm very sick. um, but I really wanted to try to get this voiceover done because this video is gonna be pretty long. I actually sped it up as fast as I could without it being too fast where you couldn't really watch it. But I tried to cut out as much as I could and speed it up as fast as I could, but I didn't want to take away from the video too much, so it's still a slightly longer video than I normally do, but it was such a big build and there were so many little parts of this that had to get done that it just took me forever to finish. I think it took me like 2 or 3 days to actually finish this build. So yeah. So I apologize for the video being so long and I apologize if my voice sounds off at all. But I figured since I have the time right now, even though I'm sick, I might as well try to get a voiceover in. You know. So yeah, here we are building the inside. This is going to be the kitchen. And then I put a little dining nook in here. I wanted the main dining to be in here, but the space was such an awkward shape that a regular dining table didn't fit. So I ended up putting it out in the main room, and then I just put like a little breakfast table in here. And as you saw, I put the dining table out and it's leaning against the wall. The actual rooms in this build are not that big because the shape of the castle with all the turrets and everything were very awkward. Um, so like the main living space really isn't that big, but I figured for a castle it really doesn't have to be because I didn't add too much in it. As far as like there's no TV obviously because I was trying to keep this more like a old time kind of castle like aesthetic. I didn't want it to be like too modern. So, it's just a dining area and a small living room. And then later on you'll see I end up changing something and putting a piano in there. So I figured there's some entertainment, but I was just trying to fill these rooms up the best I could and figure out the best layout, which was kind of hard, but I think I figured it out. And then like this little area is going to be that entrance to the dungeon, and then that's the main room, and then this is the kitchen, and then upstairs there's 2 bedrooms and each has its own like balcony with its own turrets or whatever they're called. And then the very top is just gonna be like the main bedroom for I guess like the main sims. So I had in my head like that there was like a main, I guess, king and queen, you could say, because if we're going, that kind of aesthetic for this build, that they live here and they have the very top bedroom, and then the second floor is for their 2 daughters. But I figured the one daughter, because I did download a family to playtest this, so this is just what I'm going off of. The one daughter has a pretty nice bedroom, and she's actually engaged, so her and her fiance stay in that room. And then the other room you'll see is kind of a little bit more run down. She doesn't have much like that nice of furniture because I figured she's not like the favorite. um and she's a little bit of a rebel, so the family kind of doesn't care about her as much as they care about the other daughter. So, her rooms, you could tell like by the difference when I get there. But I figured that daughter that's a little bit more of a rebel, she's kind of like a teen, or she could be a young adult because um I built an outside house, which you'll see later on too, for a farmhand, which I think I mentioned in the beginning of the other build. I figured maybe this teen kind of like has a secret relationship with this farmhand, and they like secretly fall in love or something. And I thought that was like a cute little storyline, and I gave her a lot of like gardening pots and like a flower arranging table up there because I figured like the farmhand is very into gardening, so she's learning from him. And she does come sort of secret concoctions and secret like growing secret plants maybe to use against her family. I don't know. So that's kind of like the storyline I was going with, and that's what I based the rooms off of. So when you see it built, you'll know more what I'm talking about, and I'll explain it more when I get there. But yeah, for this kitchen, I kind of wanted to just go with like an old like I used the cabinets from Cottage Living, and I used like these old base game shelves. Like I wanted it to look kind of fancy, but like not fully, like, I mean, they're royal, they're supposed to have a nice kitchen, but they're not really spending the time in the kitchen. They probably have like a butler or somebody to cook the food for them, so they're not really spending that much time in here. They're more like out in the main room. So I didn't think the kitchen needed to be anything too fancy, and I didn't want to clutter it up too much either, because I figured, like, it's probably back then their kitchens weren't really cluttered up, and there wasn't much clutter that kind of matched that time frame in this build, so I tried to pick the best I could. I did like that little tea set right there from My Wedding Stories. I added that because I figured, they probably drank a lot of tea, or like, I don't know, I just thought that was cute. And then that table in the corner, I don't know if it fit very well. I ended up deleting a couple chairs, you'll see in a little bit, and then I just kind of filled the back with like plants and stuff, because I play tested it, and my Sims weren't able to get to those back chairs, and I had a feeling they wouldn't anyway. So, um, yeah, I didn't think it was needed back there. I figured it was only a couple chairs because there's a main dining anyway. So I just added that table just to fill in the space, but I didn't think it needed like a full thing of chairs. Um, so yeah, then I'm just adding like a bunch of plants and decor. Like I said, I was trying to find stuff to just fill up the space, but I didn't want it to look overly cluttered, or like that the clutter didn't fit in this build. I wanted it to look kind of like a castle still, even with the decor. Um, so yeah, I was just trying to pick out anything I thought would still fit. And I really like these. I think these are these from Get Famous, I believe. I like the swords and stuff. I figured like that fit, and I put a bunch of knights in here too, like those knight statues, because I thought that really fit the decor. And then these like little, I guess they're like water fountain kind of statues. I was gonna put them outside, but I thought they kind of looked nice in like the entranceway and like the little dining area. I didn't think they had to go outside, but yeah, here I'm just filling in this little space with some like plant decor and stuff, because like I said, you're not gonna be able to get to those two chairs anyway. So I thought it was fine. And then I put another one of those, what do you call them? The fountains there, because I just thought it looked pretty, and it was a pretty backdrop for the dining room. Sorry, I needed a sip of water. I apologize if this voiceover sounds a little weird, but like I said, I'm sick, and my throat's a little scratchy, so I'm trying to get through it the best I can. I probably should have waited, but I really wanted to get this voiceover out because I do have another build that I just completed, and it's still with the castle kit, but it's like a wedding type of venue, like I said in my last one that I wanted to do. So I really wanted to get this voiceover out of the way, so that once I get that build all finished up and edited, I could do a voiceover for that. So yeah. But yeah, now we're moving on to like the main area. So this is going to be like a dining area, and it's going to be a living room, and it's not that big, but like I said, I didn't think they really need that much space. Um but I did give them a big dining table because I figured it was a big family, and that's probably where they'll spend the most of the time. So I figured that was okay. And then I put like just anything like that pretty tapestry. I believe that's from the Vampire's Back. I thought that was really pretty to hang over there, as like maybe the family's like crest or like the family's emblem, and they hang it over, the house to show off. But yeah, and then here is a living area. Like I said, it's kind of a tight space, and I was having trouble picking furniture out that I thought either fit the aesthetic or would fit like the size of the room. But these items from I think these are from Get Together, I think. Like the couch and the chairs and everything. I just thought they fit perfectly, and I believe the dining room chairs are the same pack, so everything kind of just matched really nice. And I thought the brown tones just kind of matched like the fireplace and the wall and the stone and everything. So yeah, I think it all came together pretty nice. And like I said, there's no TV or anything in here, so obviously. So I didn't want it. I didn't feel like the space really needed that much going on. Um, they just kind of needed a space to maybe like hang out and just like spend some time together and talk and go over whatever they needed to go over royalty wise. um, but yeah, I think it came together kind of nice, even with such a small space. And then that back room, you'll see in a little bit. I had so much trouble trying to figure out what to put there, but I ended up giving them like a nectar making like room, because I figured maybe that's how they make money, is they sell like wine. Maybe they have staff make the wine and then they sell it. But I was having such a hard time figuring out what to do in that back little space between the here in the deck. So I thought that was like a good like idea. So that way, if you do play with this build, maybe if your Sims aren't royalty or whatnot, or if they're just regular Sims, then you could do nectar making, and that's a way you can make money to like afford the bills and everything here. um, but yeah, I thought it was a good space. And then here I'm just decorating. Like I said, I added a bunch of these knights, and then I was trying to find any decor that kind of fit, but there wasn't really much. So, and like I said, I didn't usually I over like clutter my builds, but in this case, I didn't feel like it fit to overly clutter here. So, I was trying to go with the like such minimal decor as I possibly could, but I still wanted it to look kind of nice and kind of lived in, and enough to where it didn't look like empty. But I think I did okay. I think I added just enough. And then I added that big portrait on the wall because I felt like maybe that's them. Maybe that's like the king and queen that live here or whatnot, or maybe that's their parents. But I thought it felt fit the build, and then I just tried to clutter up the fireplace a little bit, with just some random stuff that I thought fit. And I added a couple book clutter here because I figured like the teenage daughter that's a little bit like, or young adult daughter that's a little bit of a rebel, whatever. I figured she's very studious and she's very into reading and like she likes to study. So I added a couple little book letters for her, and I just felt like it filled up the space enough, just to add a couple things in the corner. And then I added this. I think this is from the Vampires pack. It's like the little book. I end up moving it to the other room when I put the piano down here because I figured maybe it's like I put it like where the dungeon room is, like right by the stairs. I figured maybe this is like where they sign in their prisoners or whatnot. But yeah, I thought that kind of looked cool in this build. And then here, like I said, I'm just doing like a little nectar making room because I couldn't think. This was such a tiny little space, and I couldn't figure out what else to put here. So I just this nectar making station just fit perfectly. So I thought, hey, why not? And like I said, it's a way your Sims can make money and make simoleons and pay the bills. So I thought it was cute, and I figured if they're royal, they probably do like have nectar or make nectar. Um, because that's how they make their money, or maybe that's their thing. But yeah, I just thought that was the best fit for that space. And then out here is just going to be like a small little deck area. I really didn't do much out here because I didn't put a barbecue because I didn't feel like that fit the theme. So I just put a couple chairs. I think I put some chess tables out here because I figured that'll work. Like, that kind of fits the aesthetic, and it's just another activity for your Sims to do because I was trying to give them as many activities as I possibly could. So I figured chess was like the best. And then I did have dogs in the family that I play tested with, so I added a couple bowls out here. Um, and I tried to find the ones that matched like the outside furniture the best. So like these little wooden ones I thought fit, and then I was gonna put a dog like play bin out there too, but it kind of like didn't work. It didn't look right out there, so I took it away. Um, but you could always add one because I feel bad because now like if you do have dogs or whatnot in this build, they're not really gonna have anything to play with. So you could just stick one in the corner. But like I said, I kept it very minimal out here. It's just a couple chess tables, a couple tables, just to kind of make it look full. And then I put two more on that side, just kind of make it look symmetrical because that wall was kind of empty. And then here I'm just changing some of the lighting. I like these. These are from the My Wedding Stories too, I think. These little sconces. I thought those were really pretty. Um, and I just used everything that basically was like a candle type of light because I figured, they wouldn't have actual like lighting back then. Everything would be kind of candlelit. So I went with like these beautiful chandeliers with like the candles in them and everything because I thought that just like matched perfectly. And then up here, like I said, is gonna be like the two bedrooms for the two daughters. And then there's a shared bathroom, but I didn't put that in the speed build because, like I said, this build was already long enough. So there's a bathroom up here for them. Um, Up here there's a bathroom for like the king and queen, like they have their own like suite. And then downstairs in one of the little turrets, by like the dungeon area, I did another bathroom. So there's three bathrooms in this build, but I figured the one upstairs for the main bedroom is kind of locked off. Like you'll see I close it off with a wall, and I put like a secret doorway. So I figured you'd want to lock that off from the rest of the Sims in this house, because maybe that's like their space only. So technically, there's like two bathrooms that all these Sims can use, and then the outside build where the farmhand lives, there's another bathroom. But I figured you might want to lock that space off too, just for them. But you could do whatever you want. You could have whoever you want live here. That was just my idea. But yeah. Now we're moving on to the bedroom, and this was for like the daughter that I felt what had like lived here with her fiance, and you could tell like her bedroom's a lot more fancier. I gave her the really nice bed from Realm of Magic, I believe. And then I gave her that really fancy dresser. I want to say it's from Vampires, but I'm not sure. But I just made it like really fancy and sophisticated and really pretty. And then here is the other bedroom for the other daughter, who, like I said, is a little bit more neglected because she's a bit of a rebel and she kind of goes against her family a bit, and she's into a little bit more outside things than her family. Like I said, she's into the gardening and maybe a little bit of magic. So, her family kind of stuck her back in this back room and kind of gave her like maybe the furniture that was left over or something, or just furniture that they didn't care about, so they just threw it in her room. But I didn't make it too run down. I kind of made it a little nice because, like I said, she's still royalty. I didn't want her to like have like really run down and like grungy furniture, but I wanted it to look like she was treated differently than the other one. Um so yeah, and then I gave her like a desk to study off of, and I give her a bunch of bookshelves, and like I said, the turrets that they have each, hers one is more gardening and the other one is more like studious, like bookshelves and stuff. And then I give her like a seating room and everything in there, as you'll see. So I made her more of like the studious sim, the sim that likes to study and likes to garden and stuff like that. That's kind of like her activities. And like I said, I cluttered her room up a little bit more with stuff because I figured maybe she's more of like a collector, or she, or like the farmhand gives her stuff and she just brings it in here and hides it from the rest of the family, without them knowing. So yeah, I thought that was kind of cute to just kind of give her like this. And I gave her a single bed because, I figured she's like either like a teen or a young adult, but she's kind of like on her own, and she's like secretly in love with him, but they don't spend the time together. So she doesn't really need a double bed in her room. And then I just added a bunch of like this book clutter here, like I said, because she likes to read. And I added a cute little chair in the corner just because I thought it looked nice and I needed to fill in that space. And then later on, you'll see I do add a dog bed into her room because I figured she's more of like the animal lover and she's very into animals. So I kind of gave the dogs their space in her room. And then now we're moving on to like the main bedroom for like the king and queen or whatever you have in here, like the main Sims. And like I said, I closed off that wall because I figured I wanted to add like a secret door that you can lock so that this is their room and only their room and that nobody else can access it. Because I figured, that's probably how they want it. They don't want anybody else to really go into their bedroom, except for maybe the pets. But like I said, this is their space. This is their like hideaway. So, and I made it very fancy. I gave them like these big portraits on each side of here of the staircase because maybe that's like their portraits. I believe those are from are those from Vampires or are those from Get Famous? I'm not sure, but I thought they fit the aesthetic really well. And then I gave them this really pretty bed, which I can't remember that that's from, but the tables are from the For Rent pack, and I used them up here, and I used them in the other daughter's bedroom downstairs. I just thought they were really pretty with like that like floral print on them. I just thought they looked kind of fancy in here, and the size was perfect to fit in here so that your Sims could still use the room. So I thought those were really nice. And then I used those lamps. I believe those are from the Vampires pack, and they're just really pretty. And I added the red from the lamps, so I decided to put the rug in here that's got the same red tone to it, because I thought it made the room look a little bit more rich and more like fancy and more like sophisticated, and add a little bit more like a money tone to the room. And then here's their bathroom. This was the only bathroom I actually kept in the speed build, which I almost cut it out because I was like, I really wanted to cut this video down, but I kind of left it in just to leave one bathroom. But yeah, I gave them the really expensive tub, and the really expensive sink. I believe those are both from Get Famous, but they have that like peacock or whatever on them, and I thought that was really cool, so I gave that to them. And then I gave them like this big mirror wall, and I was trying to figure out where to put the toilet because I was gonna put the toilet on the other wall, but then you would be like staring at it as you walk through the entry like door over there, and I was like, that's kind of weird, like I don't want to do that, so I moved it over here next to the sink. And then you'll see I put like this vanity thing, I think it's from For Rent also. I put that up against the wall over there just to kind of like fill in the space. But yeah, I thought I wanted to just give them like a nice fancy bathroom. And I did clutter it up a bit here. Like you see, I put this little stool here with some clutter on it. Just because I figured like their bathroom would be a little bit more cluttered and have a little bit more fancy items than, maybe the daughters downstairs, because, they're more important. um, but yeah, I didn't add too much. Like I said, I really did not go over the top with clutter in this build. And I'm actually kind of proud of myself because usually I go like way out of control with clutter, but for this type of build and for like a castle theme, I just didn't think clutter really fit that well in a build like this. So I added a little bit, like I added a couple little like perfumes and like a little watch and stuff like that on here, just to show like, have them have a little bit of stuff. Like this is maybe where they get ready, but like I said, it's very minimal, and I just wanted to fill up the space a little bit because it just seems so empty. So that's just why I kind of stuck that there. But I really also like that vanity from For Rent because it has that pretty like mirror on it and everything. So I really like using that where I can use it. I apologize if I have to keep drinking water through this video, but my throat's getting a little scratchy. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it for this bathroom. It's like very, like I said, I didn't do too much, and like the bedroom's pretty minimal too. Like I gave them like I think the dresser's base game, and then the mirror is from the Jungle Adventure pack, which just looks so pretty in this build, and the color just matched the colors perfectly. And then I just put those little trunks at the end of the bed, and I think those are from Werewolves, I believe. But I like adding the trunks to the end of the bed because it kind of is like another dresser type of thing and another storage, and you could always add clutter on top of that too if you wanted to. But I don't know, I always just kind of like adding those to the end of the bed because it just adds a little something extra. And then now we are moving on to, I believe they're called turrets. If I'm saying that wrong through this whole video, I apologize, but I think that's what they're called. But yeah, these two are gonna be for, like I said, the teenage, young adult, whatever, daughter that's like a little bit more of a rebel. So this one I gave her was more like a studious area, and I put a lot of book clutter in here. And then upstairs I added like a bunch of more bookcases and everything because I figured like this was her study room, and maybe this is where she studies plants or magic or whatever else she studies. I did add a couple little magical books and stuff. And then on the little stool next to the chair, you'll see I added like gardening books and everything there because I figured maybe she's studying like gardening, and maybe the farmhand is teaching her how to garden. So I added those up there. I believe I play tested these. I believe they're functional because I originally I added these little ladders with like the vines on them. I end up, you'll see in a minute, I have to flip them around because I wasn't sure if the Sims could get up there the way they were against the wall. So here you'll see I'm flipping them around because I was like, I don't think they can get up. So now I believe they're functional, and I end up flipping them all around in all the ones that I did. I believe I play tested it, and I believe my Sims were able to get up here, but I will definitely check again before I upload to the gallery because I do want to make sure that it's, functional when you guys use it. But like I said, up here is going to be her, book, like just a little study area, like some bookshelves. I use like those old time looking ones with like the more metal and stuff on them because I figured they looked, I don't know, the best, and they fit the best in that room. And then, over there, like I said, I think that one I just give her a bunch of planter pots. And then I do a flower arranging table out here on the balcony for her. But yeah, I just figured I couldn't think of what to put out here, to be honest. So the only thing I could think of is, like I said, like maybe she's learning gardening and stuff. So I thought this was perfect. And then I really wanted to put the flowering arranging table up here, like hidden, but I wouldn't fit. So I just put it on the balcony. And then up there, up at the top, I put those like tall, like hanging, like the wall planters. I think they came from Eco Lifestyle, Eco Living. um, the ones that you can kind of like grow plants against the wall. I put those up there because they fit perfectly, and I figured it's just more space for your Sims to kind of garden and grow stuff, and they should still be able to get up there and be able to use this, and it should function. So yeah, I just like the way they look, and I liked how they fit up here. So they should still. I don't know if I play tested those, but like I said, I'll check everything before I load this to the gallery. But I'm pretty sure everything was pretty much functional. Um, so yeah, and then I just tried to fill this in with a bunch of plants, and I wanted it to look like she had like she was growing plants on the wall. So I used some of those hanging vines, and then here I'm just sticking more planters because I was just trying to give like fill in the space, and then I figured like, well, there's only a couple planter pots like up there and inside, so some of the plants I guess will be sheltered. So maybe if you have plants that you want to shelter, you could do it on the inside of the build, and then those outside ones you could just grow plants that are in season. Uh, and there you saw I just added a dog bed to her room because, like I said, my Sims that live here had dogs, and I wanted them to have some space. So I figured that Sim would have it in her room, and she would, share it with the pet. So I put the bed in her room. And then here we're moving on to like the balcony for the other daughter that's kind of engaged. And I kind of just gave them like a bunch of, I don't know, random activities. Like I gave them like the easel, and I gave them like one of those shrubs that you could kind of like cut into shapes. Um, I couldn't really think of anything to put out here. I didn't think like anything was really like special to them. Like they didn't have any certain like hobbies. So I was just trying to put like random stuff out here. But I did in the one like turret here you'll see I gave her like her own closet, and I put a vanity up top because I figured like she's very into clothes, and she's into like fashion and makeup, and like she's just very like she wants to look good. So I made this kind of like a closet area, like an extra closet area, and then up top I put a vanity, which like I said, I have to play test this again because I wasn't sure if the vanity was going to work. I believe it did. I believe I tried it and she was able to get up there, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to test it again. But I really couldn't think of what else to put up there, and the vanity just kind of, I don't know, it just kind of fit and it kind of looked nice, so I kind of just went with that. But it is such a tight space, but I believe they could still get up the stairs because I left enough space for them to get up one side of the stairs, so it should be fine. But I will try it again. If not, I might just leave it anyway just because I like the way it looks, and your Sims really don't have to use it up there. So I might just leave it as is just because it's really pretty up there and it kind of just matches the tone. Um, but yeah, I don't think I'm gonna take it off. But yeah, I just put this really pretty vanity. Like I said, this is kind of like maybe her secret space to get ready and get dressed, and she has all her like special makeup or whatever else she uses, and she hides it up here, and this is where she gets ready so nobody else can touch it. I don't know. So, but I thought like this Sim was very like kind of full of herself, and just very into like making herself look good, and she has to be presentable at all times, and she always has to be like the first with fashion, and I don't know, that's just kind of where I was going with. So I gave her a lot of like makeup ones, but I didn't want to go too hard with the makeup because some of it didn't really match like the aesthetic of like the old time. Like I don't know if they had makeup that looked like this, but I just added a couple clutter items up there that I thought were kind of like minimal and kind of looked right for the space. And then over here, I figured for her. Oh, well, here's where I moved the piano because I was going to put the piano up in one of the turrets, but obviously it didn't fit. And I figured her fiance was very like musical, and that was kind of his thing. Like he's very into music, and that's kind of like his career. So I moved the piano down here, and then up here I just kind of added like a punching bag and made the top of it kind of like more like an exercise room. Like maybe he does like fitness or likes to keep himself fit. So I gave him like a punching bag, and that was really all I put up here. And then I put some like decor on the wall and stuff, but I didn't. That was literally the only thing up here, and I figured it was the only thing that would fit anyway. So I thought it was perfect. And then your Sims can still like exercise or whatever on here if you wanted them to. It gives them like an extra activity to do. And then the downstairs, I just put some like seating area. I really wanted like a gaming table in here, but it wouldn't fit. So I just put some seating in here, and then I end up moving the bar, that little bar out there, back in here because I figured maybe this is like, where he takes the guys and they have like their, I don't know, like their talks, and this is where they go over things. Or maybe since he's into music, maybe he brings other musicians over here and they have a drink and they talk over like music notes, and they write their music in this room. I don't know. I just made it more like a studious type of room for him, with these really nice like those really nice like leather chairs or whatever they are. I thought they were really like nice and fancy. And then I put like the bar in here because I figured like like sit and have a drink. So I just thought it like really looked nice and kind of fancy for him. And like I said, I couldn't think of anything else. I made him like more a musician, but that was really all I could go with. So yeah, that's kind of what I did for him. And then now we are moving on. This is going to be where the farmhand lives. So this is the building that's below the castle, like to the right. Um and as you can see, I just did like a small little bathroom in there. It was nothing crazy. I gave him like the cheap shower from Horse Ranch, and I gave him, I don't know what that toilet is from, but it's like the handmade toilet. And then I just gave him like a sink that kind of looks like it was handmade too. Because I figured like the farmhand, like he doesn't get fancy things. Like he gets either like whatever he could build himself is what he builds his own furniture, or he takes hand me down furniture that like they don't use anymore, that they've thrown out and that he uses in his house. So that's what I was going with. Like this is just either handmade or like used furniture. And then I did clutter it up a little bit in here with a couple little things, just some like tea sets and little plates. But I made his house very like gardeny. Like I added a lot of plants in here and just a lot of like nods to gardening because I figured that's what he does. Like that's his favorite thing, is like he's very much into gardening. And there is a cow shed and a chicken shed outside. So I figured he does take care of the animals because like I said, I feel like the family that lives in the castle, like they want their own fresh food and like fresh, produce and everything. But of course, they're not going to do it themselves. So they hired him to take care of the animals and take care of the garden and everything. But little did they know he was going to fall in love with their other daughter and they were going to have a secret relationship. But yeah, so it's very tiny. It's just this little kitchen. I give him a tiny little dining room table with like two seats. It's nothing much. And then instead of like a couch in the living area, because I do put a fireplace in here, instead of a couch, I give him like two nice little chairs. I believe they're from Cottage Living, these chairs. I just figured they fit the space really well. And then I did want to fit a double bed in here because I figured maybe because of the secret affair that he's having with their daughter, that, who knows, maybe they will need a double bed, but obviously she doesn't have one in her room. So, maybe he built himself this double bed just so she could stay with him if she wants. But yeah, I just gave him like a simple double bed, and I gave him a little table with like a little, um, that little like what do they call it, the oil lamps. I thought that was really pretty. Like I really like using those, especially in these old-timey builds. So I just used that as his lighting. And then I just did a bunch of like hanging candle lights in here because like I said, they don't have actual lighting. Everything's probably lit by candlelight. So yeah, everything in here is pretty much a candle. And then I gave him like that ripped up rug in the living room from the werewolves pack because like I said, he takes maybe stuff that they used to have in the castle and they threw it out and he just uses it because he needs it in his house. So maybe they were getting rid of that. Used to be a nice fancy rug and it was really like expensive, but then it got all torn up, so they threw it out to get a new one, and he decided to take it and put it in his living room. And then I just gave him like the knitted one under the bed because like the same thing, maybe he knitted the rug himself or somebody he knows knitted it for him and that's his rug that's in his bedroom. But yeah, and then over here I did this plant shelf, and I just cluttered up with a bunch of plants and bunch of pots and stuff on here because like I said, I really wanted this room or this house to be like very into like plants and gardening. Like I said, that's his thing. So not only does he do it outside, but he brings it inside too, and maybe kind of carries it over and likes to garden inside when it's cold out. Um, and then I put those little hand painted pictures because I did want him to have a skill. So I do give him a an easel in this build because, like I said, I wanted him to have some sort of skill item to do, maybe for fun or just to keep him busy. And I figured I did like the pictures of like a girl that maybe he like, and there's like a picture over the fireplace of like a princess. So maybe he has like a picture of her, like his love that lives here. And like he likes to, paint pictures of her and hang them on the wall and stuff. So I kind of thought it went with like that kind of like secret love affair kind of theme. um, but yeah, I also, like I said, wanted to give him an activity. So I thought our easel was good because I figured that's something he could just do in his spare time is paint just to keep himself busy. And then here I was just changing the roof because I felt like it didn't really fit. I didn't want him to have like a fancy roof. So I just changed it there. And now we are moving down into the last part of the build, which is the dungeons, which is that opening when you go up to the castle on the right with those like pointy spike, like the door that leads down into here. There's a staircase. And I just felt for a castle, I really wanted it to have some like dark and grungy like dungeon, that maybe they throw their prisoners in. So, I made it really like very gross and grungy, and I put a lot of like stains on the wall and stains on the floor and a bunch of cracks, and I just made it look very rundown and gross. But yeah, I just gave them like basic beds, and then these old like I don't know, like made toilets. They're kind of just like a bucket in wood. Um, and then I gave them like these old sinks that maybe like are a little leaky or whatnot. Just like the basic necessities they would need. But I was trying to find anything that looked old and kind of like run down and gross, and that would kind of fit in a dungeon. And I didn't want it to be like expensive items, so I used the cheapest ones. And then this room is for like the guards or the knights or whoever's watching the prisoners. I gave them this little play table, like a little card table, just to keep them busy and give them an activity. And then I put this couch, I believe from Outdoor Retreat, in here, just to give them somewhere to nap or like sit and relax or spend time like talking or whatever. And a fireplace. And then I gave them this little kitchen nook that's by the stairs or under the stairs because I figure this is where they can like kind of cook for themselves or maybe make whatever food for the prisoners and throw it in their cells. But I was just a very small kitchen in the corner. And then yeah, I just add a bunch of lighting, and then like I said, I'm just gonna add a bunch of like gross stuff like spider webs and just stains on the walls and cracks on the walls and on the floors, and I put like some of the mold, I believe that came from like the basement kit, like the mold stains that I end up putting on the walls. I just think it looked perfect. And then I added, I believe it from Strangerville, I added those stains on the walls and the floors that are like, they kind of look like blood stains. And I put them out into like the hallway where you kind of walk into the cells on that wall. And I think I put a couple maybe in the rooms, kind of just like as a bad omen, just to like kind of show the prisoners like, hey, don't mess with us or something could happen to you. And then I just threw a bunch of hay on the floor because I figured maybe like they're trying to just kind of cover up some of the grossness and they don't want it to smell too bad. So they figured the hay will kind of just like soak it up or cover it up. But yeah, I think that's it for the build. So if you guys like it, please like and subscribe. I really, really appreciate it. And again, I apologize for sounding so sick or having any weird noises in this video. Like I said, I was just trying to get this voiceover done. But I wish I wasn't sick trying to do it. But yeah, so like and subscribe if you guys like the build, and I will see you guys in the next one. Have a great day. All right, bye guys.